Alright, so just a recap of today. Cars on track for the first time in 2020 on the NASCAR side. But first, let's wrap up the ARCA race. Just finished up about an hour ago. My prediction was correct, so we're 1 for 1 early on. Michael Self took home the win. Not surprised that there weren't really any passes on the final lap, which was the big thing to notice. No one got out of the line pretty much on the inside line. But these cars just have way too much downforce for super speedways. It's just really tough to pass unless you have a push on the draft. The big story here in this race, though, the super speedway debut of this person right here, Hailie Deegan, finishing second and stayed near the front the entire time, kept her nose clean, except for the Chuck Hires accident. I think I pronounced that correctly. I'm not too sure, though. But second place in her first super speedway race. It's very impressive. One off of Michael Self, who is the GOAT right now in ARCA. Not the greatest of all time in ARCA history, but like he's just way too dominant right now in that 25 car. But Deegan was very impressive. I'm expecting great things for her in 2020. The cars as well, they get way too squirrely in lap traffic. Whoever that lap person was, I get why. He really didn't do anything wrong. Stayed on the low side, let the traffic go by. But I don't get, though, why he did not pull into the pits. I don't think the big one would have happened at the halfway point if he pulls down pit road. Tanner Gray ran well in his first super speedway race until he started to blow up. Kept trying to do everything he can until ARCA officials black flagged him. But yeah, he did well in my opinion. I'm also expecting some good things from him as well. I think he gets a win too. And then David Gravel, in his first ever stock car race, the World of Outlaws sprint car driver, Knoxville Nationals champion from last year, he finished in the end of the race without a right side, which was pretty hilarious. I thought that was pretty cool. So I think, pretty sure he did well. He got in that big one though, but he did all right. Next race will be at the Phoenix Raceway, so that should be interesting. But let's recap the practice sessions from today. Final practice, the big story coming in that all day long. Brad Keselowski hit a fence pole with the right side of his race car and affected the aerodynamics of the car. Now, this was a huge session, as you would either determine if you would focus on qualifying trim to go for the front row tomorrow or work in the draft and prepare for the duels on Thursday night. We only had 3 cars prepare for the duels in the final practice, and they were the fastest 3 in the 196 speed. Bubba Wallace, Cole Custer, and John Hunter Nemechek working in the draft to get the top 3 speeds. But anyway, everyone else going in qualifying trim. Keselowski lost a lot of track time for an hour. No qualifying trim whatsoever. This is the first time he gets in a single file run. Will be in qualifying tomorrow afternoon. So he won't get a feel of the car today when by itself. Most likely he won't go for the front row. However, the likely way he has figured out is what his car could be like in the draft in the Clash. He knows how to race in the draft, and he can take it to his advantage to focus on working in the pack Thursday night, even though Sunday is the final track time before the Twin 150s on Thursday night. As I was saying with Keselowski with the draft right now, in the Clash practice we had earlier today, Keselowski was 6th quickest with the Penske boys, Blaney 5th and Logano 7th. Keselowski with a speed of 198.544, and of 6 cars that took 10 consecutive laps, Keselowski had the best average at a 195.765, as well as in the first practice session for all cars to go onto the track. Keselowski, though, was 21st quickest at a 197.247 speed. And just double checking my facts, he did run 13 laps. Not too sure if they were consecutive, though. And he was not in the top 10 for the best 10 consecutive lap averages there. Let's look as well who were fastest. In the Clash practice today, the Joe Gibbs cars were fastest. I was not really surprised. I was kind of expecting that. Jones, Hamlin, Truex, and Busch go 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're the only Toyotas in the race, so no surprise to see them working together. They're going to be key in the draft, especially not just in the end of the race, but throughout speed weeks when they have to race each other on the track. Practice 1, how about Ty Dillon, the fastest one? 2:03.592, and he had the best average 10 consecutive lap average by a tenth of a mile, 200.976 early on. Wasn't too sure who he was working with throughout the day, but it should be interesting to see how Dillon does in the Daytona 500. Anyone can pretty much do well in this race. Excuse me, my bad. But as well, for previewing qualifying tomorrow with everyone else except for the top 3 and Keselowski, just focusing on the single car qualifying run. You've got the Hendrick guys, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bowman at the top with a 195.088. And Jimmy Johnson only did 1 lap of practice. That run was a 194.835, so that would have put him second. And then Denny Hamlin currently would be running 5th in qualifying. And Stenhouse would be 6th. Stenhouse would be a dark horse as well. I don't think I mentioned him yet throughout speed weeks. But JTG Doherty, they haven't won a race since 2014 when Allmendinger won at Watkins Glen. I would not, because Stenhouse, the only tracks he's won are super speedways. And even though he can get very aggressive at the super speedways, I would say he could be a pretty good dark horse as well to maybe try and get the win in practice number 2. We also had the starting lineup has been officially determined for the Busch Clash. And Ryan Newman starting on the pole. Keselowski is going to start second. Denny Hamlin, my pick to win, starts in 18th. So yeah, we're going to have a little bit of fun watching the Clash tomorrow if we're correct on the predictions there. Also, Keselowski, by the way, going back to him, about half hour ago as I'm recording this, he spoke about the incident, made no excuses. It was his mistake. This is all off of Jeff Gluck's Twitter, by the way. And he was the one holding the wheel. He wanted to be with the crew as they made repairs. I think they're still making repairs right now. I'm not sure what time the garage closes tonight. But as of 7 o'clock, it's been 4 hours since they've had to begin making repairs. Another 2 more stories I want to talk about before we end the video. First one, Kevin Harvick has, in a press conference today, that wasn't officially announced. Harvick just spilled the beans, according to him. But he has extended a deal with Stewart-Haas Racing to put him through 2022. Pretty sure it's a 2-year contract extension. Let's get the details here. But yeah, that's so sorry there to Fox Sports, as they won't really get Harvick up in the booth yet. But let's just confirm here. I got a little pop-ups here though. So it lasts through 2023, and the deal was supposed to end after 2021. So 4 more years we'll see Harvick in the sport, and also reported through The Athletic. Let's just get this here. NASCAR and its Cup teams, they've agreed to a charter agreement extension, and this would include as well, an increase in revenue for the drivers and the teams themselves. So that's all from the first day of Cars on Track. Tomorrow we'll be recapping qualifying and the Clash. Those are the only 2 big things going on in the wonderful world of NASCAR and Speed Weeks. As always, if you do enjoy my work, I encourage you to become a patron on my Patreon. Plans start at $1 a month, and you'll get some amazing rewards. If you did like the video, though, besides give it a like, comment, and subscribe as well. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm Marty. I'll talk to you all tomorrow, and until then, peace out.